it is best if you can find a bright indirect light corner. What? Hello everyone, I'm Adina from plantsbutbetter, and today we're talking about this independent, beautiful plant right here, the ZZ plant. I'm saying it's independent because it pretty much doesn't need anything from you, except for a bit of water once in a while. So you can say it's almost a 10 out of 10, but I don't want to be biased, so we'll just say for the care meter is a 9 out of 10, because I don't know for sure your home conditions and just to be covered, you know. So it's highly recommended for beginners, for travelers, for literally anyone. Yes, I recommend this to anyone. Let's talk about light. Where should you place this plant? It is best if you can find a place with bright and direct light. Despite what the internet says, the ZZ plant doesn't like dark corners. There is no such thing as low light plant. That just sounds good, but it's not true. However, it is true that this plant is very resilient in low light and it can tolerate it for a period of time, but they really thrive in bright indirect light. One of the signs that your ZZ plant is not getting enough light is that the stems will be a bit skinnier. And for example, with this plant, I kept it in medium light because it can survive in that as well. It can grow actually. This plant has skinnier stems because of the light situation. So if you want your plant to go strong, just go for that bright indirect light. It will do best in that type of light, like almost any plant actually. Oh, and another sign that your plant is not getting enough light is the yellowing leaves. Moving on to watering, because the yellowing leaves could mean overwatering as well. I water my ZZ plants once every 2 to maybe 4 weeks during summer and once every month and a half during winter. You can stretch it to even 2 depending on your home conditions. This is because the roots on this plant are actually rhizomes that can store a lot of water. So that's why you just need to leave it alone. Overwatering will lead to root rot. And I had this experience before in the winter time when the temperatures dropped and I overwatered my plant because I didn't know any better. And I had these tiny annoying parasites that fed on the rot from the rhizomes. And this led to the plant rotting altogether. A sign that is almost too late to save your plant from overwatering when you try to gently pull it and it easily breaks. That is a clear sign that you need to check the roots, and one solution for that is to cut above the dead stuff and to try to propagate it in water. But you need to frequently change the water because even if your stem appears to be healthy, it could still be rotting. So you need to cut it again and again until rotting doesn't happen anymore. So remember, less water for happy roots. What about temperature? The ZZ plant deals great with average room temperatures, so anything between 18 to 25 is good. If you let it drop below 15 degrees, it will actually accelerate root rot, and I wouldn't advise you to keep any plant below that temperature because it leads to permanent damage. What about humidity? This plant likes it average, so your home humidity is great. Something between 40 to 60% is amazing. No need for misting and no need for a humidifier. What about fertilizing? When it's time to feed your plant? I fertilize my plants once a month during growing season, and in the winter time I usually stop because winter is usually associated with dormancy, and when your plant is in dormancy, it doesn't need feeding. If your plant is still growing during winter, you can keep on fertilizing, but with a more diluted solution and a bit less often than you do it in the summertime. I like to use a balanced NPK ratio of 10-10-10, but I find that this plant is very resilient and you can use almost any fertilizer you have at your disposal. Moving on to substrate. Did I mention overwatering before? Because that's exactly what I'm gonna say again right now. To keep this plant happy, you need a very lightweight substrate. So for my plants right here, I use a 50-50 mix of coco coir and perlite. You can change coco coir for regular potting soil, but please don't change the perlite. Perlite helps with drainage, and that's exactly what you want for your potting mix. What about plastic versus terracotta? The ZZ plant doesn't like excess water, so it could be a perfect fit for terracotta pots. I had mine growth in both plastic and terracotta, picture right here with the terracotta pot. And they grow amazingly in both. But there is a catch if you're using terracotta pots. When they grow, the roots actually deform the pot. So there have been cases in which the roots have broken the terracotta pot because the roots grow juicier and thicker and the terracotta pots cannot resist them. And you want to be extremely careful with that. Moving on to repotting. I've mentioned the ZZ rhizomes grow strong as rocks, and you could feel them through the plastic pots. So basically when your plant is deforming the pot, then it's time to move out. Sometimes the roots grow so big that there is hardly any soil left. Choose a pot slightly bigger than the previous one and gently separate those roots. Let's talk about propagation, because I have with me this little one right here, but I'm actually a bit cheating because this is not a regular ZZ, this is a ZZ Zanzi, but it will make my point into what I'm about to say to you. I've been using 3 ways to propagate this plant. So you can do it by leaf cutting. You just basically cut the leaves from the plant and place them directly into soil or into water, and then you get this. The mature leaves will die and then the new growth will show up like this. The second method is by stem cuttings. You can do this if you had problems with root rot. Cut the stem and place it into water or into leca. I will put a picture right here. I haven't done it directly into soil, and that's why I don't recommend it, because I don't know how successful it is. And the last method is by division. Wait until the plant comes up with new offsets, separate the offsets. There you go, you have a new plant. Oh, I forgot, if you choose stem cuttings, it will take a great amount of time until you see new roots coming out. Like, I think I tried to save my ZZ plant with the overwatering situation, and I placed them into water, and it took more than 9 months to see some satisfying results. So yeah, be mindful of that. Moving on to pests. So ZZ plants are pretty tough and they rarely get any pests. The only pests I could think of is maybe mealybugs or scale. Please inspect your plant every time you water it, because this is how you keep an infestation under control. This is how you spot the problem in time and also solve it in time. And don't forget about the overwatering problem, because they could get pests in the soil as well. But other than that, these are great plants. How about toxicity? Is this plant safe for my pets? And the short answer is no, and the slightly longer one is please take care of your pets and don't let them near this plant. Other questions that I've seen on the internet are related to the leaves, if these leaves are shiny by nature. And the answer is yes, you don't need to do anything special, just shower them from time to time or just wipe the dust and you will get this shiny, healthy look. And yeah, that's it, they are shiny by nature. We reached the end of our video. If you have any questions or if there's something that I missed, you can hit me up in the comments. And until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself and your plants.